So this is an icon that was created by one of the world's greatest painters or masters of the icon, Theophanes the Greek. So during the 14th and early 15th centuries, Theophanes worked in various cities in the Byzantine Empire and ended up in Moscow. So icons in the Orthodox tradition are considered an important part of the life. So if you've ever been to the Greek Orthodox Church at the bottom of 33rd, has anyone ever been there? They have the most stunning icons. You could sit in that room and wonder about the art that's in there for a long time. The icon is an important part of the life of their church, and it holds as much the same position as our sermon might be in the Western church. And so they are the icons. They understand icons to teach truth through seeing, and that leads to worship. Whereas the Western church tends to hear sermons as a way of seeing truth through hearing, which leads to worship. So it's a little bit different. But this is an icon of the Transfiguration. And I wonder what this icon might tell us about the story of Transfiguration. And you are the art historians. I am not. But I have some information, but I know you have other pieces because you can look at paintings for hours, I've been told. So what is it that's most striking to you about this image? What do you notice today?
Your eye goes to the top.
Your eye goes to the top.
Contrast.
The contrast. Say more about that, Russell.
Between Jesus all right on top and then everyone else looks so different.
So Jesus really stands out. Yeah. Moses and Elijah are paying homage to Jesus, yes. Yeah. So the disciples along the bottom look like they're either sleeping or cowering. The spirituality shines out of this image for you. So one of the things that I read about were the insets. So do you see underneath Moses and Elijah, there's these little almost vignettes, and which you can't really see. You'd have to actually even the image on the paper, you're looking at it. But anyways, so in those images is a picture of Jesus with the disciples, and it's dark. Jesus is in dark clothing. And right before the Transfiguration story in Luke, and right after the Transfiguration story in Luke, Jesus warns his disciples that the Son of God will be put in the hands of those around, that the Son of Man is going to die, and that by following Jesus, they're going to die too. So there's this kind of movement of darkness or movement of danger or black in the picture that foreshadows what's to happen. I read about that. It wasn't that I discovered that for myself, just so we're clear. Anything else you notice? The fruit and the leaves, yes. Yeah. There are angels in the top corners. So it's like they're almost they brought in Moses and Elijah, perhaps. Anything else you notice? So Nancy's wondering about the significance of the star, or the X shape that's behind Jesus. Anybody want to take a guess? Because I don't know either. So Robin's wondering about the sharpness of the light behind Jesus, that it's drawing our eyes in. There was some comment about about the fact that it was even, right? That there's this evenness to that particular centerpiece. The rest of the story isn't, or the rest of the picture is not that even. Caitlin? The 3 points could be the Trinity. See, told you had some way smarter than me. Awesome. Cheryl?
I wonder if to me it looks like an X that you're looking at, and is that an indication that Jesus would be gone from earth?
So Cheryl's wondering about, it looks like an X, so maybe that's an indication that Jesus would be gone from earth. Winston?
There's lines moving from the congregation to Jesus that seem to somewhat follow the lines of the light around Jesus.
There's lines that follow to the people around Jesus. To the light around Jesus. So there's lines that follow the edges of the light that sort of focus in on the people around Jesus. Is that what you meant, Winston? Okay. There's 4 lines that converge onto Jesus. Creating the light around him. Yep. Nick? So So the lines of that star, that it could be the guiding star or the Star of Bethlehem, that our eye quickly goes to the space around Jesus. Mark? The lines go through the heads. Huh. Look at that. Interesting. Those bottom figures represent subservience or worship, disciples. One of the pieces I was reading about was talking about the left-hand one being Peter, and say, he's got his hands up as if, okay, let's do the 3-dwelling thing, right? Let's prolong this. Good. So I want us to think about what is important about this story for us. How do we take this image and make it about our experience of Christ and this story? And in the season of Epiphany, which the group did a really good job of reminding us of the stories that were part of our journey through Epiphany, we've seen and felt and known a bit more about Jesus the Messiah. And bit by bit, that story unfolded, and it was revealed in word and deed for those who choose to see it with open hearts and minds. The hungry are fed, the sinners are forgiven, the sick are healed as the Lord of the Sabbath widens the circle of God's love and continues with his mission. And then, this is the peak of the Lucan Gospel. This extraordinary event of revelation where everything stops for a moment. I'm going to kill this name, but bear with me. Hans Urs von Balthasar. Did I say that? Balthasar. There you go. See? Should have got Ramona to say it. Balthasar. He's a Swiss theologian and a Catholic priest. He was born in 1905 and he died in 1988. But one of the things that I read about him is that he was convinced that human encounters with the divine included 3 glimpses. So the glimpse of radiance, the glimpse of mystery, and a glimpse of meaning. So I was thinking about Chris Hadfield, who says this about his time outside the space station in space, where he's got one hand hanging on to the space station. Okay? Spacewalking outplays everything. Viscerally, it's a phenomenal place to be able to glance right and see the world, glance left and see the universe, and realize for a moment that you're holding onto your known existence with one hand. He goes on to say that this is a glimpse into an understanding of ourselves that no one has seen. I found it overpoweringly visual. You don't have random thoughts. The onslaught of what was pouring in through my eyeballs was filling up everything. And if you just look behind it, there's this whole universe, infinity, glory, beauty, a glimpse of radiance, a moment that makes you stop, take notice, be blinded by the light or the sound or any other of your senses in overdrive. It's a moment that cannot be explained by average language or any words, perhaps, except reverence or awe. It's a glimpse of radiance. And that moment that happened on the mountaintop was bright and blinding, and as mysterious as it was glorious and radiant. Peter, John, and James in the story are suddenly, astonishingly fully aware. Of course they are. Can you imagine? Jesus is there with 2 others, and echoes of a story long ago of Moses and a mountain and 10 commandments, and Elijah and a chariot, leader and prophet who encouraged departure or exodus so that there might be new life. Glimpses of what is to come as they bear witness to the shining face of the Messiah. While they see, they don't fully understand. It's unexplainable. And Peter is all about how to make this moment last forever, wanting to somehow mark it with 3 tenths, as if mystery can be pinned down and put on display. We might smirk at his lack of understanding of the mystery of things, and yet we carry around 8 megabyte cameras in our pockets on our phone to mark our moments. A voice from the cloud, the ancient biblical symbol of the mysterious presence of God, the voice in the cloud who says, "Listen to me." How comfortable are you with the mystery of God? How long can you sit in it? You may know about the I find it aggravating, theologically problematic bumper sticker that says, "Jesus is coming, look busy." Has anyone seen that? I am so loath to sit on a mountaintop for too long. Aside from the whole wildlife thing, it's very easy for me to get tangled up in the activities and the things of being in the world that make me busy for Jesus. But for the disciples that were there with Jesus, and for us too, if we don't take those moments to stop, to reflect, to wonder, to pray, to ponder at the mountaintop, we could very well miss what's happening in front of us. Because in amongst the clouds and the terror and the mysterious weirdness of this scene was a glimpse of the meaning. The third part necessary for transformational human encounter with the divine. This is my son, my chosen. Listen to him. Listen. Be guided by your heart and act accordingly. Be grounded in the mission and identity of Christ. I had a conversation over dinner on Thursday night with Megan. Now she can shrink to the pews over there. And we started to talk about the concern that we had about Reverend Franklin Graham. And as many of you know, Reverend Franklin Graham is presenting as a keynote, as far as I could tell today, still there, as a keynote at the Festival of Hope in Vancouver this next weekend. And there's been many Christian faith leaders who are opposing his participation in this event and encouraging the planning committee for the festival to rethink his involvement, stating that his ungracious and bigoted remarks have the potential to generate serious negative impact on Christian witness in Vancouver. Reverend Graham's comments against the Muslim community, the LGBTQ community, and other statements of intolerance are inappropriate and do not reflect the love and justice of the Christian gospel. I feel sad and perplexed by the response from the organizers of this event and the refusal to pull Franklin Graham's participation from the festival. So as Megan and I were eating dinner, we wondered if there needed to be further response from us at the site during the time that the festival is on. We thought about protesting and creating signs that support our beliefs. We imagined a large circle of people holding hands in prayer and reflection during the hours of the festival. We thought about serving coffee or sharing chocolate with those that were going in to participate in the event. We wanted our response to be faithful Christian witness, to seek justice, to love kindness, to walk humbly with God, as we believe Jesus would do. And we wanted to be communicating our belief that we are all beloved children of God. We were concerned and chatted much about that we didn't want it to be seen or felt as antagonistic or reactionary, but a message of love and inclusion. I'm still not sure how you do that. But if we're grounded in the mission and identity of Jesus Christ, what as Christians, if anything, are we being asked to do? Perhaps it's prayer and a moment of quiet reflection, because that's all we can add to our days right now. Or perhaps it will look like planning something with others to offset what we feel is the festival's limited views of love and justice. Or perhaps we are just being called to listen to what isn't being said. In this Transfiguration Sunday, we know we've not escaped the world's darkness. For today, we've found out how light is hidden here. Even ordinary light is miraculous and holy. And today we give thanks for momentary glimpses of the fullness of God's glory. Amen.